You're watching First Line. Let's just take you back to our live images coming in at the moment from the scene of what seems to be a attack in Boston. We have two explosions, we are told, at the finish line of the Boston Marathon. In fact, just in the last 30 seconds or so, we have seen both Reuters and AP quoting sources, security sources, using the term now bombs and explosions. So these are two explosions that have occurred at the finish line near the Fairmont Plaza Hotel. What we can tell you is that two people have been confirmed dead. That situation, though, is developing. 22 injured at this stage. Two explosions, they went off around 10 seconds apart. We have spoken with Nick Willis a short time ago. He told us that by his estimations, the marathon would have been coming through the last sort of an hour or so. People would have been finishing that race, and the next wave of runners would have been coming through, although it does seem to have targeted the people who were watching the race, not the runners themselves. Now, I can speak with, I think, Andrew Wharton, who is a New Zealand runner who was running in the Boston Marathon. Andrew, can you hear me there?
Yes, I can, Rachel.
Okay, Andrew, I think you are nearby. Tell us where you are and what's been playing out in the last couple of hours.
Well, at the time of the event, I was in my hotel room right at the finish line. My wife and I were in there. I was just icing my legs after finishing the race. We heard two very loud explosions right outside our hotel. We immediately looked outside and saw people running. We panicked a bit, but went straight up to the roof to see what was going on. I looked down from the roof and saw blood everywhere, glass, debris, and a lot of people lying on the ground, people being carried away. We then went back to our room and were evacuated pretty much in what we were wearing, and we've now made our way about 2 kilometres out of the city at Boston Common. We're hoping to head out of the city as soon as we can.
Did the explosions, Andrew, sound as though they were, close together? We're told they were around 10 seconds apart. Did that sound like that to you?
I'd say they were closer than 10 seconds apart. They seemed like a matter of seconds, maybe 3 or 4 seconds.
And where do they appear to have come from what you could see from the roof?
Well, I was staying in the Charles Mark Hotel, which was 655 Boylston Street, and that was right dead on the finish line. It would have been probably 5 to 10 metres to the right of my hotel, which would have put it right at the finish line. And it could well have hit spectators, it could well have hit runners. There were a lot of runners finishing at that time.
So you believe there could have been some runners potentially caught up in this?
Yeah, absolutely. The runners would have only been metres from where all the spectators were, and from what I could see, there were the barricades, the dividers were all knocked down, so it could well have hit runners as well.
So when you look down in the aftermath, give us an idea of, what you could see.
I saw a lot of glass and debris on the ground. I saw some people being carried away by others. I saw other people lying on the ground. At that stage, I realised it was pretty serious, so I didn't hang around looking for too long, and I just went and grabbed my wife and tried to get out of there as soon as I could.
There were injuries by the sounds of things. Well, we know there were injuries. Is that what you could see as you looked down where those explosions had occurred?
Yeah, absolutely. It was pretty chaotic. There was a lot of blood, a lot of people on the ground, and when we were finally evacuated from our hotel, we walked out and there were streams of blood and pools of blood everywhere. It was pretty shocking and distressing, to be honest. How
recently had you crossed that finish line, Andrew?
I finished at about just before 1 o'clock Boston time, which would have been just before 5 a.m. New Zealand time. I'm not I'd say within an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes after I'd finished. So I'd been back in my hotel room about 20 minutes and was just icing my legs and having something to eat, about to have a shower.
And when the explosions went off and you saw the aftermath, what area did they stretch over? What area had they covered, these explosions? Are we talking 5, 10 metres? Are we talking further?
I would say a little bit more than 10 metres. I only had a brief look, and was quite difficult to tell. Sorry, you just have to bear with me. I'm about to get in a car to get out of the city.
No,
So
that's quite okay. So you came down in the hotel and you walked through this area, I assume, where the explosions had occurred. Was that the only way out of your hotel?
That's right. I walked out and walked left, which was slightly away from where the explosions were, and then just walked as quickly as we could through the finish area. There were still runners who had just finished getting their medals, and we were just ushered away, and we just walked as quickly as far away as we could, then tried to call the New Zealand Embassy, but haven't had much luck there.
Okay, we are seeing some distressing images. We just have to apologise for those. These images are just coming to us live off the satellite at the moment. We're just taking this in a rolling capacity, so we do apologise to anyone at home if you're finding some of this distressing. So you've tried to get in touch with the embassy. Andrew, do you know of other New Zealanders? Was there anyone else over there with you as well?
Yep, I believe there were 14 New Zealand residents, over there, and I know one of my club mates was also running. He should have finished well before the explosion as well. His name's John Plymmer, so I hope he's okay.
Okay, so Andrew, you came down from the hotel, you walked to get away from what was going on. What was it like? I assume there were many people trying to get out of the area.
Yeah, there was a lot of people trying to get out. It was pretty chaotic for a while, but what we found was once we got a few hundred metres away, quite a few people didn't actually know what had happened. They'd heard a couple of bangs, but thought that something had collapsed, or so there were a lot of people still milling around, and we were trying to get away out of there as quickly as we could. And but people seemed to be quite casual about it all, which was quite surprising.
And where are you now? What did you do? Did you just keep walking, or?
Yeah, we kept walking, made our way up to Boston Common. We tried to get a couple of cabs, but there was no luck there. Thankfully, I'm also with my cousin, who's an Australian citizen, and she was able to arrange a ride for us, and we're going to go to her hotel, which is in Woburn. And myself and my wife are going to try and get our flight to Vegas tomorrow morning. Thankfully, we've got our passports and travel insurance and flight details, so hopefully we'll be able to do that.
It just seems extraordinary, I have to say, Andrew, what's unfolded here, and the fact that you were on the finish line at the hotel looking down on it.
Yeah, it's still in a little bit of disbelief about it. I was just in such a good mood, having a bit of my personal best, and looking forward to having a good night out and really celebrating. And now I just, myself and my wife just worried about our kids and thinking of them at home, and worrying about our gear that's left in our hotel room. We've got all a laptop with all our photos of our kids and things, and so there's a lot going through the mind at the moment. So, but we just want to get out of there and see what happens.
Indeed. Well, Andrew Wharton, we're pleased you're safe and appreciate that you have spoken with us this morning. Thank you.
That's fine. Thank you, Rachel.
Andrew Wharton, who finished the Boston Marathon about an hour before those two explosions occurred, and who was staying in a hotel on the finish line. He saw what occurred, he heard those explosions, and is now essentially walking his way out of that horrific scene there. Now, what we can update you with while we were speaking with Andrew, coming out of DC at the moment, police say, police have told Reuters that there is heightened security around Washington, DC. We already know the New York Police Department has gone on high alert there as well. Also, the Boston Globe and AP have reported an intelligence official saying 2 more explosive devices have been found at the Boston Marathon. They've been dismantled, or they are being dismantled. Wall Street Journal's reporting that too. Boston Globe and AP. 2 more explosive devices have been found at the Boston Marathon. They're being dismantled right now, but it absolutely suggests that this was very much a coordinated attack targeting this event. We are sorry for some of the images that you're seeing here. We keep reminding you we're just taking this live off our satellite, and so whatever comes, we're putting to air. But we will keep you across this. 2 confirmed dead at this stage. That situation developing, though, that's according to local Boston police. 22 are injured. Right. We're just going to bring you an update on some of our other news quickly this morning. Opposition